With back-to-back election years, leaders of the Democratic and Republican parties in Pima County are staying busy. We checked in with party chairs Allison Jones and David Eppeheimer about lessons learned from the 2018 midterm and their priorities in the coming year.
My focus as chair of the Pima County Republican Party is always Pima County. I'm working on our Board of Supervisors, the City Council and the Mayor. These are Democrat-run operations, and they're failing operations, and we need to really keep up the loyal opposition on the leadership of Pima County and Tucson, and their failure to bring this community up into an economic position such as the leadership in Maricopa County has.
Allison, you're new to your role in the Pima County Democratic Party. Some of what David said, is that why you took on your position, to help lead some new change?
I took on the role in the Pima County Democratic Party because I saw some new energy out there in the grassroots that I thought we needed to bring in to make change. And the grassroots has been successful in doing that in many ways. Although Tucson is not as affluent as Maricopa, I believe that the things we stand for, like appropriately funding education, will lift us up compared to other places, because we have been neglecting giving people opportunity to better their lives through education in many ways.
What did your party learn, Allison? We'll start with you, from the midterm.
We learned that the ground game really matters. We had scores, hundreds, thousands of people knocking on doors, and ultimately I believe knocking on doors is the gold standard for voter outreach. We could do it better, and we're going to improve on it next time around, but there were lessons learned, and we're going to take it from here.
I would ditto what Allison said about ground game and about knocking on doors. We knocked on our RNC funded effort in Pima County knocked on tens of thousands of doors. But the one thing that I think gets lost in the results, and looking at the results as on the surface, is this was President Trump's first term midterm. And in a president's first term midterm, everything flips. And it goes all the way down. Obama lost his first term midterm, lost the Senate, lost the House, never regained them. And President Trump increased Republican senatorial count in the Senate. We lost the House. That was very predictable.
What's different about this midterm was, though, the turnout.
Mm-hmm.
It was Democrats won with a much greater turnout than is usually seen in midterms, which I believe is significant.
Does that make you apprehensive about 2020?
Not at all. I think that it's going to be very hard fought. The forces are lining up now, and have been for the first 2 years of his term, lining up against President Trump. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath. The presidential election will be. There
are some people who don't watch these races as closely as the two of you. Bloodbath. Is that likely to happen, Allison?
Well, I haven't used that term before, but I have said it's going to be on a scale that we've never seen before. More money, more advertising, more door knocking, more volunteers, more of everything. Bloodbath, maybe, but the scale is going to be tremendous.
Well, I think the hatred of President Trump by the left, and the word progressive is being used to describe the left. I mean, Allison, you were elected on a progressive platform using that word. Progressive is a code word for socialist. I think so.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't run away from that one. The socialists hate President Trump with a passion. And they hate him with a passion because of the successes he's had in policy. Forget personality. Policy.
Would you describe it that way?
Hatred, no, but definitely discontent. And instead of calling people like me progressives, I would call Trump supporters regressives. I mean, they are really pulling away from the middle class, weakening the middle class, wealth is being increasingly concentrated into fewer and fewer hands. And when you have no healthy middle class, there's eventually no one to buy the stuff that the very wealthy are selling. Trickle-down economics or supply side has never worked. Demand side has always been the answer. And regressive politics go completely against that and weaken the whole economy and the middle class.
Taking the names out of it, regardless of what you call your party or how you feel you're represented, at the local level in Pima County, how can the two of you go about leaving those words out of the conversation and just having a discussion about policy and the economy, as you've said?
Republicans are very, very passionate about personal responsibility, the value of the individual over the group, the ability of a person to make him or herself as good and as successful as their own merits will take them. And that's what we're always going to be about. That's what we're always, it's about the availability, the opportunity to do the best you can and be rewarded for that, and not be held back by the lowest common denominator.
Democrats do believe in personal responsibility, but from the beginning of time, there have always been people who are higher achievers and lower achievers, and we also believe in an element of fairness. And we see where we do institute fairness. For example, I'll come back to the education example, giving children all the equal access to a quality education is what lifts people up. If you don't institute this element of fairness in our society, then people are stuck in poverty, and the rich are the only people who will ever be rich. And so that is what we stand for. We are the party of the middle class. We believe in unions and collective bargaining because we've seen the way they lift up an entire population, not just the members of the unions. And so that is where we stand.
Okay, we'll leave it there this time, and maybe next time we'll pick up the conversation. My thanks to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.